today on what to do. I wanted to just go over replacing a starter. Now this truck, it's a F-350. It's a gas engine, Superduty XL 2015. And this will apply to a lot of the other Ford trucks, and there's a lot of other vehicles as well. Now, I tried filming while I was underneath of the vehicle, and it's very difficult. More importantly, because I didn't have a lift outside where the truck was, so I was literally had limited space, and I just felt like the underneath video wasn't going to do much. Now, I will show some of that from underneath, but it's very hard. So I wanted to just get this starter out and explain it with the starter on a bench. The problems that you're going to run into, because you're going to be very frustrated doing this job, but it can be done, and it's probably going to take you, without the proper tools, you know, or depending on how big your hands are, you need really small hands. It's probably going to be anywhere around 45 minutes, could be to an hour. If you're lucky, maybe you'll do it in a half hour, but I'm going to bet more on 45 minutes to an hour. So let me show you the starter, and I'm just going to go over it with you, some of the problems you're going to run into. Alright, so this is our starter, and let me start off by saying I apologize for this video being blurry. I am getting a new camera in the next day or two, because there's just grease all over my phone now, and the videos are all blurry. But anyway, let's jump into it. So I have this positioned the way that it's going to be in the truck, and you are going to be down here looking up. Okay, so the first bolt that you're going to see, that you're probably going to go after, is this bottom one, because that's going to be the easiest one. Okay, now I watched a lot of other videos to see how, you know, these guys were doing it, and a lot of guys were getting this off with a 13 millimeter. Okay, first problem I had is my 13 would not go on. I found that the half-inch socket actually fit on this really nice. Now, maybe it was because the bolts had a little bit of rust on them or whatever, but 13 was not working for me. The half-inch was. All right, so this you're able to actually get to with your ratchet, and I'll show you in a second. With your ratchet and your socket, you're actually able to get to that one straight on and take it off. Okay, you're gonna have wires hanging down here. Okay, remember, you're down here, so you're gonna have wires hanging down from here. All right, the one from your battery, the one from your ignition, and they are gonna be in the way. Now, it's optional, you can take them off first. This one, the half-inch, did fit on there. There was a little yellow casing on here with a cap. I just uncapped it, and I was able to get my half-inch on there and take it off. All right, now, so you may want to remove those wires first just to get them out of the way. All right, but if you're not sure, remember where they're going to go back, you can mark them. You got this bolt out, right? And let's say you've already taken these wires off. In my case, this one was stripped out. All right, so after I got all my other bolts out, I had to let this starter hang and suspend in the air from this wire, and I pretty much cut this wire, and I just spliced together with a new wire with a new end, and I put it on after I put the new starter in. All right, but if your nut is not seized up there, then that one is going to be 7/16. All right, and that one you should be able to get straight on with no problems as well, and take that off with your 7/16. This one also, you'll have enough room to go straight on with your half-inch and take that nut off. The next bolt you're going to come to is going to be on the back side here. Now, disregard this other starter here because that's propping this up. The next bolt you're going to come to, you'll see, is that one right there. That one you will be able to get to with your ratchet, and I believe I had to use a long extension on that. All right, that gave me, I'll just lay it in the front of this so you can see, This one actually gives you clearance past the starter, and I was able to get my ratchet on. Alright, so I went in from the other side. Let me just slide this in. And I was able to get my ratchet on there to clear the starter to turn it. So that bolt wasn't too bad getting out. That next one, because it's right in front of the solenoid there, but there isn't really anything blocking it. Okay, so coming up now, you're going to, this is where you're going to need small hands. Let me see if I can move this starter here. When you get to your top bolt, you're going to be able to bring your hand up the side there. Just get it in there and you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it up there, but it gives you very little room right here. Okay, and the reason I say that is there's an exhaust that's going to come down, and it just gets in the way a little bit. That exhaust is going to bend down. So what happens is when you're trying to drive just a straight thing on, it's actually hitting that exhaust, and the exhaust is making you come in with this on an angle. And this is what's really going to frustrate you. Okay, so what you have to do with this top bolt, and you may have to put this swivel back here. You're going to have to play around with it, and because I had to change it around a couple different ways. Alright, so we are back on the top bolt there. So when I slid this up here, I used a smaller socket, not as deep as this one. And the reason because I needed just a certain length. You're only going to be able to have a certain length here. Now see how this whole thing measures up and comes right to the edge of the starter here? Well, if I were to use this one with the swivel, it would have been too long. If I were to use this long socket with this swivel and this adapter, it would have been too long. So I had to feel with one hand, I had to feel the nut and kind of guide this socket with this hand. I had to guide it onto the nut. Alright, and then once I had it laying up there and on, I was able to come up from underneath with this drive and just grab the edge of this. Alright, and look, I am almost flush against the back of the starter. And that's how I got it on. I mean, that's how I got the nut loose. And I had just enough room, because back here, this is about how much room you're going to have to get in there. You're going to have this little gap right here. Alright, so I had to mix and match adapters and things. I was going to be able to get under that exhaust pipe there with this swivel. And it was going to come right to the edge of my starter to give me room to get that ratchet in here. And then I had to get a long leverage bar and slide it over my ratchet to give me more leverage to pull it underneath, because when you're laying on your back, you're at a disadvantage under there. But that's what you're going to go through with this top bolt. And it's I've done a lot of starters, and I've been doing mechanic work a long time, but this situation never changes. It's always frustrating, and I had to walk away from it 2 or 3 times, and you just got to go back to it. You can't go into this job already frustrated, because you're going to strip these bolts out, and then you're going to have even bigger problems. So play around with your, bring a whole bunch of adapters with you and get the best scenario in there. If it's not fitting tight, and when you start turning that and you're feeling this slip off, try a different approach, because you do not want to strip out this bolt up here or break it off. Alright, but this was the setup that worked for me. And I think once I did take this swivel off and put it in the back here and then put my ratchet on. But that's what you're going to need to get under that exhaust there. Alright. It keeps falling off, but that's the problems that you're going to run into with this. All this other stuff, this bottom bolt and this other side bolt and these wires, other than that one wire I had to cut because this nut was stripped, that was pretty fast. I probably did all that in about 15 minutes total. When I got to the top, I sat on that for a good 40-45 minutes. And again, I had to walk away about 2 times, just take a deep breath and go back at it with a clear head. But I got it out. And putting it back in was pretty easy. Now, one last tip. When you are taking this out, put the bottom one back in here on this side. All right, put this bottom one back in. Only because if you loosen that, when you take out this top bolt, this starter tends to want to sag a little bit. And that's not helping putting tension on your bolt as you're trying to take it out. Because once you back it out a certain amount, you're actually able to stick your adapter up there now and turn it by hand to loosen it the rest of the way out. All right. Now, again, I apologize. I know this video is a little bit blurry. And I wasn't going to do any more how-to videos until I got a new phone. But I just felt like this job, if there was any tips on this that I could give anybody to help you out, I wanted to get this job online and see if I could help you guys out, because that really frustrated me last night. But that's it, guys. Hopefully this tip helped, and if it did, could you just please hit subscribe below really fast? I'm trying to get my subscribers up. And give me a like, and I'll see you next time.